This time it really is event day. On today's Apple Daily, we are talking everything that we are likely to see at today's event and some stuff that nobody else thinks we're likely to see, but I kind of do. Let's get into it.
This is the Apple Daily.
Okay, starting off with what I think are going to be the safest bets. Tim Cook will walk out 100%. Happy days. It will probably start off with something about a little bit of a company update, followed by Apple TV Plus. Now, I think Apple TV Plus is going to be one of the first things that they roll out because Apple TV Plus has been free, basically, for pretty much everyone using it. I would be surprised if they've made over 100,000 in profit this year on it. And it won't be profit anyway because they've spent billions on actual content. However, revenue-wise, I would be surprised if they've done 100,000. I think it's inevitable that we will be seeing some new content. We will be seeing some new trailers. We might see a trailer for the second season of For All Mankind. We might well see some more of the Isaac Asimov stuff that's coming. I know we've got Scorsese that's got a first look deal. So we could see some really cool stuff. But Apple TV Plus, they need to encourage people to turn those 12-month free subscriptions into a monthly $5 subscription. There is also a possibility, I would say probably 50-50, that we will be getting a brand new Apple TV box. That TV box will not be super exciting in this case, but it will probably move up from an A10 processor, which I believe is what they run on at the minute, up to an A12 processor. I have a feeling that A12 is going to be the oldest processor that Apple uses for anything going forward. Apple Card going international. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, Apple Card looks like there are moves being made to expand that internationally, including new product managers that are going to be working with other card companies, also payment processors, all that sort of stuff. Really quite dull. However, one of the big features at the moment for Apple Card is the fact that you can, outside of the cashback offers that they give, is that you can finance Apple devices on it. And we have a lot of Apple devices on the way. It will make life much easier for them rather than offering individual finance packages and individually authorizing them, to let people have an Apple credit card and let people buy stuff on that. I reckon that's about 95% likely to happen. It might not happen at this event though, it might be at the next one, but no, I'm going to go with it. 95%, I think that's happening. Apple One, bundling all of Apple's services together. Again, we've talked about this in the past. This would be a single monthly payment or maybe an annual subscription for Apple News Plus, Apple TV Plus, Arcade, Music and Fitness Plus. They might throw in some iCloud storage options. They might throw in a couple of other bits that we're not particularly mentioning here, but it is a bundled service. We've seen evidence for it in the Android code for the Apple Music app, because you can now get your Apple Music on Android. So I think that's quite a possibility as well. I'll start that at 95% too. Now we get into some hardware. I know this is what you're all here for. Apple Watch and WatchOS 7. Now it very much looks like this is going to be coming, pretty much a dead cert. I'll put it at 95% because you never know, there might have been some weird production issue that nobody knows about and maybe it's not happening. But the Apple Watch Series 6 may be renamed as Apple Watch Pro, with the regular Apple Watch being the replacement for Apple Watch Series 3, which has been the lower priced option. It looks like that's going to be based on the Series 4 chassis. I really hope so, because that is much better looking than the Series 3 chassis. It's got the much bigger screen. It's got a bit of bigger battery, I think. I think they would probably knock out the always on display and the ECG function to keep the costs down a little bit, especially as the ECG isn't actually available in many countries because of medical approvals and things like that. But it looks like it will have a pulse oximeter, and I would think that will be in not only the flagship Pro model but also in the regular everyday version. iPad. So iPad 8th generation, I've put this at 90% because there have been rumours about an iPad 8th gen coming in March. That seems unlikely to me. It has now got an A10 processor in it, which is very, very old, very long in the tooth. It looks like the main update to this is going to be just going up to an A12 chip. I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I would much prefer that they combine the iPad and the iPad Air into a single product, get rid of that kind of mid-tier that doesn't really need to be there, because I don't think anyone really understands why they would want that. I understand that you guys all love laminated displays, I don't care. But the iPad 8th gen is looking like it's going to come with the unlaminated display, it's going to have the A12 chip, it's going to still have support for Apple Pencil, and it's going to have support for the smart keyboards, but the A12 that it's going up to would be the same chip that was launched in the iPhone XS and the XS Max, or Tennis Match, and the iPhone XR. iPad Air 4, 90%. I've put this again at 90%, and this one does look like it's getting a redesign. This looks like it is going to the iPad Pro form factor. However, leaving out the Face ID from what we're hearing and putting in a Touch ID in the top power button. That just makes absolutely zero sense to me, because then you'll have to unlock it with your fingerprint and then swipe up from the bottom. It feels too janky, it doesn't feel Apple, it doesn't feel good. Unless they do something where maybe they're using the ultra wideband chips that use the precise location stuff, and if you've got an Apple Watch nearby that is signed in and on your wrist, maybe it automatically unlocks. Could be something like that. Who knows? I hope that ages well. My other thought was maybe Face ID isn't legal in certain countries, and because of facial recognition laws or something along those lines, and maybe they're doing an option like that which is kind of going to sit as a kind of pro for those countries. I don't know. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Breaking news. So just as we're doing this, I want to cut this in. Kamiya KJ on Twitter is reporting that and this is actually retweeted from someone called Evan Blass, that the iPad 8th gen may be getting an A12X processor, which he's mentioned is insane because it is super powerful. It's saying that the 8th gen will come with that, still with the Lightning and the old style design, and then the iPad Air 4 will come with the A14 chip, which is not that much more powerful than the A12X. So I'll be surprised if that does happen, but we don't know. If it comes with an A12X, that is a really compelling iPad. iPhone 12 and 12 Pro. I know I'm out here kind of on my own. There's a few Apple sort of commentators that are saying, yes, we think we'll see it. There's a lot of outlets that are listening to leakers who I don't necessarily think have got accurate information, saying no, we won't. And I genuinely think they're saying it because Apple at the earnings call basically said we are going to have a delay on the iPhones this year. That was followed up by very, very recently there was still rumours about the 120 Hz happening, 120 Hz not happening. That would only be on the Pro model, and that I think is the key here. John Prosser tweeted, I think 4 days ago, that the iPhones were going into mass production, and he was talking about these 120 Hz ProMotion displays and the fact that they weren't going to be included. He also said that iOS 14.1 needed to be on those devices, loaded in at the factory, and that there wouldn't be time for them to then ship. If the 12s were actually what's just gone into production, they will still have 3 weeks worth of production by the time that stuff starts shipping. So there will be some iPhones available if that's the case. However, I think that the iPhone 12 has been locked in for a while. It's been in production. I think they are already boxed up and pretty much ready to fly to the US and to fly around the world. I think it's the Pro that is going to be the one that's delayed more seriously, because we also heard that the delays were due to the fact that the 5G chips were in short supply. Now, if the 5G chips were in shorter supply and they were prioritising the iPhone 12s because it's the more mainstream one, it's the one that more people are going to be buying, that would make sense then that you just delay your Pro a little bit, probably to the end of October, maybe early November, and we'd still get our iPhones released tomorrow. They would still be talking about the whole range tomorrow. There may be a price drop on the 11, which means that they won't drop all of the sales that they would have been getting. That will actually give them more of a lift in sales than just completely ignoring the phones, because I think because they haven't made any statement to say we are not talking about iPhones at this event, I think the media in general, because the media in general is waiting for iPhones and the public in general is used to having iPhones at that September event, I think they would get far worse publicity. They would get a massive drop in their stock price. They would get absolutely panned across the community, and you can already see that Samsung and some of the other phone manufacturers, I think Pixel, have got new phone announcements that they've scheduled for the coming weeks, probably to try and get in before the iPhone announcement if it is actually delayed. I think it's going to be coming tomorrow, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think it would also be really weird for the iPhone to launch after an iPad Air that uses the same processor. Then some people were saying, oh, they'll use an A13 then. No, they won't. If you want an iPad Air, which is the more powerful one, you want it with the current processor. It doesn't make sense to put an A13 in there. Absolutely not. But also, iPadOS is iOS. They're basically still the same. I know they're kind of forked, but they use a lot of the same code. They use a lot of the same feature set, so I cannot imagine them releasing new iPads and going, here you go, here's iPadOS, and not releasing the iPhone OS because they haven't got the phones ready yet. Or would they release iOS 14 and go, yeah, sorry, we haven't got anything for you to run it on, you can just run it on your old phones, because they always want the flagship phone out there to be using that new operating system so that they can do the videos with it to show how great it is. They're not going to come out and show us iOS 14 running on an iPhone 11 on the screen and then mysteriously not mention iPhones for the rest of the event. That just seems super weird. So I don't think it'll happen. AirTags and AirPower. I think these only have any chance of debuting if the iPhones do. So these are contingent on that. AirTags will use U1 chips, ultra-wideband frequencies, which essentially allow you to really accurately pinpoint where a device is. John Prosser was talking in his video today about the AirTags. He's apparently had eyes on them. They basically look like a round white disc, and then on one side of them they're completely clean, and on the opposite side they have a metal disc that's got an Apple logo in the center, and then it's got some text around the outside, a bit like the back of the Apple Watch. That's what it looks like. They've also said that these are going to have replaceable button cell batteries and not be wirelessly chargeable, although the curve of them looks very much like an Apple Watch base, so I would be surprised if they do end up being rechargeable. I think they will probably use the same charger as the Apple Watch. If they don't end up being rechargeable, I feel like you're going to need one of those SIM removal tools to poke into the side of it to pop out a little tray that might have that button cell battery on it. And AirPower chargers. Now, we've seen from several of the leaks that the iPhone 12 is likely to have a magnet ring around its charging coil. Now, this could be for mounting it directly onto an AirPower mat or whatever it comes out as, and basically making sure that it's always centralized on that ring, which will also help it to get the fastest possible charging. Now, I think there is an outside chance that we could see Apple Silicon debuting at this event, although I do think it's very much an outside chance. I do think we are going to see another event in October, but I believe that that event is going to be focused on Apple Silicon. I believe it's going to be focused on new iPad Pros, because the iPad Pros that we have now with the A12Z chip is going to be around about the same power level, we think, as the A14 chip that's going into the new iPhones and the iPad Air. Yes, we might cannibalise the iPad Pro sales for a little while, probably not for that long, maybe a month, and then that will probably get upgraded with the A14X chips, which we believe went into production about a week ago at TSMC. That would make sense timing-wise for Apple Silicon, potentially for the lower-end MacBook model, and then using the more powerful Mac chips for the MacBook Pros, but also going into those iPad Pros. I also think at that event, Apple may well debut their Pro apps for iPad, so things like Final Cut and Logic Pro, and that would then make sense for them to release the AirPods Studio at that event as well as kind of a pro editing tool. That's completely unconfirmed, but that is where I would put that launch, because John Prosser is saying that we are not going to be seeing AirPods Studios at the September event. He's also saying we're not going to see iPhones, and I don't agree with him on that. So, you know, got to just pick the rumours that I like. What do you think, guys? Let me know down in the comments what you think we will and will not be seeing at the event. And talking about the comments, if you want a shout out like I'm just about to give, let me know in the comments that you have subscribed and rung my notification bell. And you can get a shout out just like the Val Nerd YT, who is the newest member of my notification squad. Thank you so much for watching this video, and throughout today, I'm not going to be at my desk. I'm not going to be able to make new content if anything gets leaked or announced during the day before the event itself. So if you want to keep up with anything that I see during the day, head over to Instagram. I haven't plugged my Instagram on here before, but Instagram /living on iPad, you can find me, and I will be able to, even if it's in the stories or in the Instagram feed, I will be able to update you on anything that comes out during the day that you might be interested in. And let's get excited for tonight. There will probably be some videos coming out this evening, UK time, after the event.